My name is Victoria, and I am a commissioner with the Denver Immigrant and Refugee Commission, and I am one of the co-chairs for tonight's event. We are delighted to have you here and participate and share with us in the 7th Annual Mayor's Diversity and Inclusion Awards. This week is recognized and celebrated across the United States as Welcoming Week, where communities bring together immigrants, refugees, and native-born residents to raise awareness of the benefits of welcoming everyone. And I don't know about you, but I am proud to live in a city that celebrates and welcomes all of our residents. A city that stands together in the face of adversity, and most importantly, our city stands for all of our residents. Tonight, the Denver Immigrant and Refugee Commission would like to invite you to be inspired as we honor and salute our wonderful heroes throughout our Denver community.
Good evening. It's a great honor to acknowledge our amazing team that produced this evening, this Mayor's Diversity and Inclusion Awards this evening. I would like to ask all the committee members to please stand so we can acknowledge them for the wonderful job they did this evening. It's now my pleasure to introduce your MC for this evening. Please welcome Christian Jimenez.
Thank you. Thank you, Tammy. How are you guys doing today? Let me tell you that I know some of you thought when you saw me, Ben Affleck is here. Nope. It's Christian Jimenez. It's good to be here with you. And you all, why are you laughing? You all look great this evening. But let me just tell you a little bit why we're here and what are the Mayor's Diversity and Inclusion Awards. The award was created in 2011 as a way to honor a person, an organization, or a business, which has contributed to making Denver one of the most diverse cities in the nation through their contribution to advocacy, leadership, and service. Each commission, under the Human Rights and Community Partnerships, nominates a person or organization that has made a positive impact on the lives of Denver citizens and our community as a whole. Before we turn our attention to the honorees and commission nominations, I would like to invite the East High School Color Guard to join us, and also Cicatriz. And I would like for all of you to please stand.
Please, once.
thank you so much to East High School Color Guard for presenting the flags today. And thank you to Cicatriz. I can hit those notes too, okay? I just didn't want to help him out. He did a great job. But thank you. You all may be seated. And now we're going to continue with our program. But I would like to introduce a man that really needs no introduction. Somebody that I look up to that has done so much for our community, for our city, and that we are all very thankful, and we thank God for his life. So please give a huge welcome to Mayor Michael Hancock.
Thank you all, and Ben Affleck, Christian, I understand how people can get confused, even ourselves. This morning I walked into City Hall and this lady stopped me. She says, "Wait a minute, why do I know your face?" And I said, "Pleased to meet you, I'm Denzel Washington." She bought it. Took all kind of pictures, signed some autographs. Listen, I am so honored to be here. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here tonight. I want to do something. I always acknowledge, of course, a few folks who are here from my administration. And I'm going to start, though, with a group that's actually listed here last on my list. I'm going to ask them to stand. Everyone who is part of Human Rights and Community Partnerships Office, please stand up. These are the executive directors of all of our commissions under the leadership of Derek Okubo, our community affairs. No, y'all continue to stand up. Stay standing up. I want you to know this is a team that, I meet with. My life, most people don't realize that the mayor's life is broken up into 30-minute increments, 30-minute briefings all day long, every day. Every once in a while we get out and get to do these kind of things, but between 9 and 5 is 30-minute increments. And this is a group, when they come in, the only department where everybody comes in. I want you to know that we are proud to consider ourselves a welcoming and inclusive city. And that doesn't happen just by us saying we're welcoming and inclusive. It takes a staff of people who adopt the values and principles and say, this is who we are. And we're going to go out and we're going to make sure that the whole city knows who we are. And when there was a time for us to discuss and determine who we would be, under all this conversation coming out of Washington with regards to our immigrants and refugees, I was proud to sign the legislation. I was proud to stand up and to proclaim the city to be welcoming and inclusive. But I want you to know it was these people who are standing up today who truly, truly carried the torch and made sure the community were aware of who we were. So HRCP, thank you for who you are. Thank you for leading this city. There was another Brain Trust as part of that effort and continues to stand up, and regardless of how the crazy ideas that I put forward, their job is to protect me and to protect this city. And I want you to know they're here in this room, but all that we've been able to do with regards to our immigrants and refugees and to stand up, whether it's the LGBTQ community, whether it's for those who are struggling with housing and homelessness, these are the folks who put together every craft that we need. And I just want to acknowledge them because they're in this room. My Chief of Staff, Alan Salazar, is here. City Attorney Kristen Bronson is here. Our Sheriff, Patrick Furman, is here. Our Director of Boards and Commission, Barry Birch, is here. My Executive Assistant, one of the guys who's always with me, Nigel Daniels, is here. If you're part of the Hancock team, please stand up. I want you to be acknowledged as well. There they are. Great leader, Tim Sandos. I see Jerry Tiano from Sustainability. Thank you very much for your leadership. Tim Sandos is leading the effort over in our North Denver Cornerstone Collaborative and the Globeville area Swansea communities. And he is the one who's standing guard to make sure that CDOT delivers what CDOT promised and all that we have added to it so that we make sure those families are protected. They're first hired, first opportunity at the jobs, make sure that we make sure their values and their way of life is protected as we do this I-70 and Platte Park Hill project. So Tim Sandos, thank you for being here, one of our longtime community leaders in this city. We appreciate you greatly. Listen, will you all join me in thanking the Denver Zoo for hosting us tonight? All the sponsors and volunteers. And I know there's so many people walking around here with city badges who are commissioners. You are the volunteers who generously give of your time and your talents to advise my administration and the city on issues that matter greatly to people who call this great city home. And so we want to celebrate you as well and thank you for your service. Give yourselves a round of applause. Those of us who aren't members of commission, we thank you as well. And tonight we are here to celebrate Denver's commitment to being a welcoming and celebrating all residents of our great city. In Denver, we stand firmly for the ideas of inclusion, acceptance, and opportunity. These are not programs. These are not just empty words. These are our values. And the folks we're honoring tonight are proof that we continue to work together against hate and will not allow hate or disinterest or lack of interest or lack of care to divide our great city. I am heartened by how much courage we find in this room tonight. One person who will be honored tonight, I know he'll have a chance to speak, but when he's in the room and I get a chance to stand before he does, I never miss a chance to celebrate his leadership. Dr. Steve Jordan, former president of Metropolitan State University. I still get chills down my spine when I think about when he stood up after our state legislature failed to demonstrate courage and leadership and said that I will stand up on behalf of undocumented students. We will. Metropolitan State University will lead the way by offering in-state tuition to our undocumented children, our dreamers, our hopers, our assets. And what he did was he provided them an affordable path to education. By the time advocates for the education or for the legislation that would have allowed undocumented students to pay in-state tuition, they had fought for 10 years. It wasn't the Speaker of the House. It wasn't the state Senate president. It wasn't even the governor who stood up and said, "It shall be." It was Dr. Steve Jordan who stood up and said, "It shall be." It wasn't easy, but it was the right thing to do. He exemplified the true meaning of what Dr. King said. Forgive me. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but in moments of controversy and conflict. Thank you, Dr. Steve Jordan, for standing when no one else would. Just like it's right for Native students with the Northern Colorado Unity Group to discuss the harmful psychological effects of Native American mascots. Yeah. Tonight, we also honor Denise Wininen, who argued rightfully that love is love. Or the students at Manual High School who fought to reclaim the power of their voices and became agents of social change. I am certain, and that's what I'm talking about, Thunderbolts. I am a proud Thunderbolt, and you did what true Thunderbolts do. Thank you. I'm certain that they will tell you it wasn't easy, but anything worth fighting for isn't easy, but it's always the right thing to do. And tonight, it's my honor to proclaim and to confirm and affirm our city's commitment to being a welcoming, inclusive city that celebrates all our residents. Let's get this party started.
See, it's really hard to come up after the mayor speaks. I don't know why. And I can see the resemblance of Denzel Washington. I can see it, yeah. But see, that's good. When people see me, sometimes they say, "Hey, you look like Fluffy." Some of you know who that is. But are you guys ready to get the party started? Let's do this. Thank you, Mayor. And this year, our honorees were selected for their contributions to making Denver a welcoming city. We are a city committed to diversity and inclusiveness because the work of each of these individuals and organizations do. There's no question we all have seen a world and a country in turmoil. But when I'm surrounded by each of our friends and family in human rights and community partnerships, I feel like some incredible things are possible. We are proud to recognize some of the superheroes in Denver tonight, and they're here among us tonight. So thank you for joining us and being here. And before we get started with our honorees, just look to the person next to you and tell them, if you knew who I was, you would invite me out to eat. And the mayor and I are taking invitations to tacos afterwards, if anyone wants to take it up. But our first honoree of the evening was nominated by the Denver African American Commission. The Diversity Award winner is Families Forward. Let's give it up for them, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to introduce David Beckhofer with the Families Forward program. He is the executive director, and I particularly, this program was nominated because it provides a healthy babies, healthy family program for African American families in the community regarding infant deaths. So statistics for you all is that African American families are 4 times more likely than non-white Hispanic families to experience an infant-to-child death before the age of 1. So this program is really focused on intensive care and intensive support for African American families. And since its inception, it has served 150 families and had 150 births, and all of them have made it past the age of 1. So they show a strong commitment to the community. They do have healthy family and baby programs for all communities, but this one is one that really stuck out due to the health equity issues within within our African American community. So I'd like to invite up David Beckhofer.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Shahaila. So I'm accepting this award on behalf of Families Forward Resource Center. I'd actually like my coworkers to stand up if you could real quick and be recognized. So I'm the schmuck accepting the award, but these are the guys that get it done. I also want to recognize, I have to do this, Bertha is our board chair and today's her birthday. And she's chosen to spend the day with us, so big round of applause for Bertha. Thank you for everything. Families Forward Resource Center, formerly Lowry Family Center, has been strengthening families in our community since '95. We have offices in Montbello, Green Valley Ranch, North Aurora, but we don't turn anybody away. Diversity and inclusion are pretty key to what we do. We could not engage families in a family strengthening process if we couldn't accept families whatever they look like, wherever they come from, and at whatever stage they're at. And so diversity and inclusion have been core to us since day one. Sometimes, however, you have to be exclusive to be inclusive, right? So the Healthy Babies, Strong Families program is our only program designed exclusively for African American families. Our African American population in Metro Denver is shrinking, and one of the reasons is, as Shahaila mentioned, our infant mortality rate, 4 times the rate of non-Hispanic Caucasian rate. So the Healthy Babies program does everything we can to work with families, screen for whatever risks they may be exhibiting that would make them at risk for infant mortality. We wrap a ton of resources around the family, and as Shahaila said, we've had over 150 babies born with 0 fatalities. So thanks again, Shahaila. Thanks to the African American Commission. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Denver.
Thank you so much for all the work that you do. The Denver American Indian Commission honoree is Northern Colorado Unity. So please welcome Kimberly Varelek, so she may share why Northern Colorado Unity was chosen. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Kimberly Varlick. I'm Eastern Shoshone from Wyoming, Wind River Reservation. My dad is Oglala Sioux from Pine Ridge in South Dakota. I'm actually a Denver native. I was born here. so a Denver native. Thank you. Thank you. I don't want to take too much time because I really want you to meet these exciting young people who we, as the Denver American Indian Commission, have selected for our 2017 Mayor's Diversity and Inclusion Award recipient. Before I get to that introduction, I just want to say that we had a lot of strong youth this year in Denver. We have a big Native community. They've done some amazing things. We had a unity conference that the Denver youth put on this year. It was several unity groups across the metro area, as well as in Boulder. And the reason why we have selected Northern Colorado Unity for our recipient is because of the work that they did. These students decided to take on an issue that is very controversial. It's very contemporary. We have a mascot concern about how natives are portrayed, and especially at a high school level. And so when we talk about inclusion and diversity, we want to make sure folks understand that when you see a mascot, how that can be exclusive, how it can be distorting and exclusive of some of the students. And so these students took it upon themselves to educate. They did their own project. They reached out to a high school, and we thought that that was a tremendous step forward to creating an inclusive community for the Colorado area. So at this time, I'd like to welcome Chante Zephyr and Talon Long, who are representatives of Northern Colorado Unity. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Talon Long. I am Sichangu Lakota, and I am so excited to actually win this. I just want to thank my mom for introducing me to so many new and experiences. I want to thank all the other people who helped out with the conference and couldn't make it, Ampa'o, Alex, and Evan. And I want to thank my cousin, Chante. She's awesome. And I'll let her talk for herself.
Ambeto ashte, chante ashte, nape chiuzape, chante ashte win zephyr imachapi. Good evening, everyone. I shake your hand with a good heart. My name is Chante ashte win zephyr. My name translates to Good Heart Woman in Lakota. I am Spirit Lake Dakota, Yankton Dakota, Navajo, and a good chunk of Mexicana. So, as co-president of the Northern Colorado United National Indian Tribal Youth Council, we extend an immeasurable thank you to the Denver American Indian Commission for nominating us for this award. Our work would not be possible without the support from the many amazing Native organizations like Native American Rights Fund, American Indian College Fund, First Nations Development Institution, Denver American Indian Commission, Colorado Commission on Indian Affairs, and University of Colorado, Denver. Because of this work on the harmful psychological effects of Native American mascots, some schools in Colorado are rethinking their mascots as well as being open to discussing more about this issue. It is our hope that we will continue this work with the 30+ schools in the state of Colorado who continue to use Native American mascots. In Denver and its surrounding cities, it is estimated that 40,000 American Indian people live, with almost half of that being under the age of 18. This is why it is important that our community has accurate portrayals of the American Indian population. Thank you so much again for this award. We are very grateful for everyone who supported us and who came to the, yeah, that's everyone. Thank you to Mayor Hancock and everyone who came tonight. Wopila.
And I like the word that he used. We have some awesome people in the house tonight. Isn't that right? Well, up next, we have the Denver Asian American Pacific Islander Commission, and they have selected Justin Balas as their honoree. So please welcome Sylvia Smith to the stage to share about her honoree's story. Let's give it up for her.
Greetings, thank you. Geez, everybody looks so lovely out there. Thank you. This guy, he touched my heart when I first met him. It's probably been over about 5 years or so ago. I can still recall our meeting at the Caribou on 16th Street Mall, Caribou Coffee. And I know that we all come across individuals in our lifetime that just touch you in a very special way. And Justin is that individual, very committed, just a wonderful individual, and I'm just honored to introduce him to you tonight. Justin is one of those rare individuals who is completely dedicated to social justice. Apart from his many policy and advocacy roles in the community, Justin's connection to the local AAPI community is deeply involved. He consistently finds spaces in his professional hat to increase awareness of issues concerning AAPIs, to mobilizing marginalized communities to organize together in a collective voice. With a focus on economic justice and immigrant rights, Justin's ability to find intersectionality, that is a great word, and bring AAPIs to the forefront of conversations without minimizing or dismissing other communities epitomizes this year's Diversity Awards theme of welcoming and celebrating all. In his community work, he is just as active in presenting AAPIs and finding opportunities to educate different communities on AAPI history, our needs, barriers, and much more. He's been a board member of Mile High JACL, worked for the Sakura Foundation, and is currently at the Asian Pacific Development Center as a health policy advocate. He has volunteered in the past for the Colorado Dragon Boat Festival and is involved in many other community organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Vallis.
Thank you all. Sorry, it's much easier coaching people how to talk in front of people than actually talking in front of people. But I want to express my thanks to Sylvia for the warm introduction and for all the work that she does. And thank you to all of you. It's really humbling to be in a crowd like this with so many amazing people and amazing faces. And I also want to give a quick thanks to the workers keeping this place open, the lights on, the mics moving, food in our stomachs, and drinks flowing. Although I think that's actually closed now. So I struggled a little bit to think about what to say in this. Again, the community organizer in me would rather help folks share their story than share his own. And I think that for me is what really this is about, is sharing our stories, right? And the stories of the people. Because when I think of a city that's memorable, I think of a city that's diverse, inclusive, welcoming, and really represents all of us. I think of a city that represents the stories of its people that have been there. And so I think on the theme of diversity and inclusion, it's amazing to have some folks working and committed to being diverse, but diversity isn't always enough, right? And so challenging us to look forward to the hard work of being more equitable, of investing those resources in keeping our communities in place and really building the best Denver that any of us can imagine together. So thank you all for this opportunity and for this recognition for the work. So thank you.
Thank you, Justin. And thank you, Sylvia, as well. If you heard what she said, they actually met at a coffee shop. So good things happen when you meet over food. So we're still open to the invitation if you want to take up on it. All righty. And well, congratulations to the first 3 honorees. Next, we have a very special treat in store for you guys. So please give a big round of applause to Baila Conmigo. Wasn't that amazing? One more? One more, okay. That was amazing, wasn't it? I wish I could do that. Maybe 40 pounds ago I could have, but not anymore. And they did a fantastic job. Let's give them a big round of applause again. Now let's continue to honor such amazing people that we have here tonight. The next commission is the Denver Commission on Aging, and they have selected Jahala Sanchez Warren to honor this evening. So let's hear from Leo Carosella as he shares who Jahala is and the important work she does for the community.
Aging is the one commission you guys are all going to be interested in one day. Some of you sooner than others. So you're going to be really grateful to Jayla Sanchez Warren. She's been a dedicated advocate for older Americans, both locally and nationally, for 29 years. As director of the Area Agency on Aging for DRCOG, she's a beacon of hope, both to those who look to live their lives with dignity in their homes independently, or those who seek the care they need in a welcoming and safe environment. She works diligently to create and foster programs that meet head-on the challenges facing those who are some of the most vulnerable among us. These include the Regional Plan on Aging and initiatives dealing with transportation access, veteran services, complex case management, and long-term care ombudsman. When she heard that Colorado was being shorted funds from the Older Americans Act because Congress had used old, outdated data, she went to work and made sure we got our fair share. She takes no prisoners. Please join me in welcoming Jayla Sanchez Warren.
Gosh, this is exciting. Thank you so much. Did you know Colorado's the third fastest aging state in the nation? Did you know that? How many of you knew that? Commission on Aging, yeah, they knew that. And you know, as we age, our population is getting more diverse than it's ever been before. Because of that, DRCOG, Area Agency on Aging, provides and funds a variety of programs that serve our diverse older population. We have a Spanish-speaking case management program. We have an elder refugee program. We have education and support for LGBT elders. We fund the African American Caregiver Program, and I know Mayor Hancock knows a lot about this with his mom and his mother-in-law. We fund health and wellness for Asian Pacific, through the Asian Pacific Center. We have Native American health and nutrition programs. We have kosher nutrition programs, both Meals on Wheels and congregate meal sites. We fund programs for the blind and low vision. We're working with Mayor Hancock and his staff, Derek Okubo and Perla Haler. Good choice there, Mayor. Really good choice there. And the Age Matters Initiative. You know, I first met Mayor Hancock when our buddy Paul Ryan, who's no longer with us, took me to meet him to talk about aging. And we had a wonderful conversation. And so I know Paul would be really happy that we're here today talking and furthering the goals of making Denver an excellent place to age. You know, if we're all lucky enough, we'll age. And it is, right? Think of the alternative to aging. And we all face the same challenges, but we experience those challenges a little bit differently based on our own experience and our culture. If we tweak our programs, modify them just a little bit, we can serve our population, our diverse population, more effectively and help them all age better. Thank you so much to my peeps, the Denver Commission on Aging. Woo-hoo! To Mayor Hancock, to my mom, my stepdad, my husband, and my daughter who are here. Couldn't do this job without you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for all the work that you do, and to the commission as well. Now let's hear from the Denver Commission for People with Disabilities, and they are honoring Heidi Heisenbuyoto. Please welcome Pamela Beselia to share a few words. And I apologize if I said it wrong, but welcome. Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Pamela Beselia, and I'm from the Commission for People with Disabilities, and I'm here to recognize our honoree, Heidi Heisenbuttel. Public Law 94-142 of 1975 provided children with disabilities a right to a free, appropriate public education in the least restrictive environment. Going forward, generations of parents and educators debated what is appropriate educational programming and what is an appropriate educational setting. Sewell Child Development Center, Dahlia Center, and Denver Public Schools Reach Charter School offer children with a wide range of disabilities an opportunity to be fully included and participate in all school activities with typically developing children. Such has been possible because of Heidi's careful focus on appropriate educational programming and firm leadership. Please join me in welcoming Heidi.
Thank you for the honor and recognition of this award, and thank you to Pam and all her work with the Commission and with Advocacy Denver. I have had the opportunity to work at Sewell Child Development Center for 30 years. And Sewell joins me in celebrating diversity and inclusion at the earliest stage of human development. Sewell has a 73-year history of service to people with a disability and commitment to inclusion for preschool children and toddlers and younger over the past 28 years. During this time period, across the nation, the number of inclusive services for preschool children who learn differently has only grown by 5.7%. People with disabilities, including young children, are still the most segregated population in our society. Sewell is proud to be a leader in inclusion. In 2015, Sewell's work to open an inclusive elementary school called REACH furthered our inclusion mission through the 4th and 5th grades. With preschool suspension rates being 2 to 3 times higher than in any other grade, it is imperative for Sewell to spread its mission throughout Denver with 9 preschool classrooms across the city, including Head Start, including the new Dahlia campus for health and well-being. Services ensure a family-focused, community-based approach that is critical to support children of all ability levels and recognize the broad neurodiversity of our neighborhoods. Thank you to the Mayor's Office for the recognition and the critical work you do every day to ensure that inclusion is a right, not a privilege, and all of our children begin with quality early childhood services. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the work that you do. Let's give them another round of applause, please. And the next commission to recognize their honoree is the Denver Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender, Queer Commission. A round of applause for Leah Pryor-Lease as she introduces the commission's honoree. Let's give it up for her.
Hello, I'm Leah Pryor-Lease, the chair of the LGBTQ Commission, and I'm here to recognize our honoree, Denise Winnan. Since 2005, Denise has led the Gill Foundation's Colorado Strategies program, where she has served as the consummate advocate for and advisor to countless LGBTQ organizations and causes in the Denver metro area. A tireless advocate and ally, Denise has helped make the LGBTQ equality movement in Colorado smarter, more nimble, and more effective. Further, Denise brings a unique perspective to the philanthropic community that capitalizes on her 30 years of leadership and management experience in multi-million-dollar businesses, political advocacy, and nonprofit organizations. She's the person you call when you want to overcome obstacles, fire up new collaborations, and inspire leaders to take on bold new directions, or if you just need a dose of her wicked sense of humor. Please join me in congratulating someone I'm proud to call a colleague and a friend, Denise Winnan.
Well, thank you very much for this recognition, and to be included with this auspicious group of nominees is pretty overwhelming. And Mayor, please, thank you for being a beacon of diversity and inclusion for our state. When I first sort of started into this movement, I came in during Amendment 2, which was a long time ago when our state was really earned the moniker of the hate state. And it was the first time where really LGBT people were marginalized and said, you just aren't equal, you just aren't the same as everyone else. And over that course of time, Colorado has really learned to lead the way on civil rights and equal rights. And we talk about intersectionality, and when I think back of what happened during that campaign, we didn't have cross collaboration between other civil rights organizations and movements and other marginalized people. And that's part of what I've spent the last 10 years doing, is trying to create collaborations, fire up
public, private, and nonprofit partnerships that really understand how we can work stronger together, and that really diversity is our strength. And in Colorado, we now have a collaboration of groups that work tirelessly on civil rights issues, public policy issues that really are meant to improve people's lives. And I'm really proud to say that never have we ever said, we were there for you, so you need to be there for us. People just get it. And that's what makes this work really great. So what I would say is, buckle up. We still have a lot of work to do, and thank you very much.
Thank you to all the commissions for all the work that you do. And now it's time for some more entertainment. Now the mayor is gonna dance. I'm just kidding. Please welcome the dance group from the Filipino American Community of Colorado. was truly incredible. I could not do that either. That was awesome. Now let's get back to honoring some very influential community leaders. Up next, we have the Denver Immigrant and Refugee Commission, and they have selected Place Bridge Academy as their honoree. So let's hear from Fran Campbell to share their story.
Boy, this is really, really an honor, because I'm very proud to represent my commission, which is your host this evening, the Denver Immigrant and Refugee Commission. Yay. Thank you everyone for being with us tonight. I'm very pleased to introduce our 2017 honoree for the Mayor's Diversity Awards, Place Bridge Academy. Place Bridge Academy is located in Southeast Denver, just a few blocks from where I grew up. It is Denver's newcomer school for K through 8th grade. The newcomer programs are specifically designed for recent immigrant children who have little or no English proficiency and or limited formal education in their native countries. Place Bridge Academy has about 1,000 students with over 70% English language learners. The students represent over 50 nationalities and speak over 60 languages. Place Bridge Academy creates community and welcoming space for some of Denver's newest immigrant and refugee families. It's my pleasure to introduce Principal of Place Bridge Academy, Brenda Kazin.
This guy was tall. I'm glad y'all made him stand. Right here, children.
On behalf of the students and staff of Place Bridge Academy, I thank you for this honor. Place Bridge Academy is a unique school. We have students who speak 65 different languages and represent over 40 countries. And our staff also represents our student population. An example of how our students work together to overcome differences would be our soccer team. Children from around the world represent this team. You will often hear Somali children yelling, "No manos, no manos." And because our students are learning to overcome different barriers, I can proudly say that our soccer team won the district championship. Wow. We also thought very carefully about the name of our school, because at Place Bridge Academy, we build bridges. Where we have diversity, we build bridges to understanding. Where we have imagination, we build bridges to creativity. At Place Bridge Academy, we build bridges to resolution, to academic success, to America, and to the future. Again, I want to thank the Immigrant and Refugee Commission and the Mayor for this award. Thank you.
That was incredible. Thank you for all the work that you do. And up next, we have the Denver Latino Commission. Yeah. And they have selected the great Dr. Stephen Jordan as their honoree. So please welcome from the commission, Vicky Lovato, to share their honoree story.
Good evening. I have to say that when the mayor first gave his remarks, he kind of stole a lot of my thunder. So I have to admit it's not my fault, but he's the mayor, so he gets to do that. It is my absolute privilege as the co-chair of the Denver Latino Commission to recognize our honoree, Dr. Stephen Jordan. Dr. Jordan is a retired president of Metropolitan State University of Denver. He served in this role for over 12 years, and via his leadership and dedication, he raised the excellence for the university. He initiated improvements in retention and graduation rates. But some of the groups that he most profoundly supported were students of color. Currently, the university's Latino enrollment is 24.5%. Wow. And if that isn't enough, 39.5% of the student population includes students of color. And of that, 32% are first-generation students. But among those who have been most profoundly impacted and transformed by Dr. Jordan's progressive vision were undocumented students. His courageous leadership in creating a non-resident tuition rate evened the playing field for Colorado's undocumented students, and it heralded the ultimate passage of the asset bill. Particularly in the times that we are facing and what our undocumented students are facing, leadership like Dr. Jordan's is so profoundly important. So on behalf of the Denver Latino Commission, we are so fortunate for the work of Dr. Jordan. So please join me in congratulating Dr. Stephen Jordan.
Well, thank you, Vicki, and thank you to the Denver Latino Commission. Mayor, thank you for this award that I will always cherish. You know, I have in my home a poster, How to Build Community. It has about 50 different ideas about how one can go and build community, from simple things simply as walking over and getting to know your next door neighbor. But at the end of it, it says, know that no one is silent, though many are not heard. Work to change it. I see that poster every day when I get up first thing in the morning and right before I go to bed, because it's right in front of our bathroom. So it's right in a prominent place where I see it. And it reminds me every day of my responsibility to speak on behalf of others. You know, I was fortunate that when I had this idea about the ability to create a special tuition rate for undocumented students, that I had a community to support me. And it's important that I recognize that community, a university that believes strongly in inclusive excellence. And I particularly want to acknowledge three people who made it possible for me to provide the kind of leadership I did. One was Michelle Lucero, the current chair of the Board of Trustees. The other was Rob Cohen, who was the chair at that time. Those two people, you know, sat down and listened to me when I said I have an idea about what we might do for undocumented students, and said we're willing to let you bring this to the board and have a conversation about it, and then supported it through the passage. The other person is a current trustee who was not a trustee at that time, and that's Barbara Grogan, who literally the next day after the board passed its undocumented student tuition rate, called and said, I want to give money to support undocumented students because you did the right thing. We all have communities who can make change, and we need to look to our community to help us to achieve these, what I consider to be statements of value about who we are as a community and as a people. This issue for undocumented students is not over. We all know that. And so I would ask all of you to think about rising up, talking to your community, call your members of Congress, send them an email, let them know that you support the DREAM Act. Let them know that these young people deserve to be in this country and to be a part of our community. Thank you so much for this honor. I truly appreciate it.
Awesome. We're going to do something that was not planned tonight. Dr. Jordan and Vicki, thank you for allowing us to launch from your shoulders, from the Latino Commission's shoulders. Tonight, I wanted to join in this. This was not planned. I actually, while standing up here saying we're honoring Dr. Jordan, we need to do this now. The city, when I became mayor, I started presenting not city keys to the city, but the highest honor that the city presents is a challenge coin, a gold challenge coin, that I've only presented to Presidents Obama, Clinton, and Carter, military heroes, our first African-American educator in the entire history of Colorado. And I give this to people who've made extraordinary impact in the lives of our country. Today, this nation is debating DACA students, sending them to countries that they've never known before. They are our children. Dr. Jordan, not the President of the United States, not members of Congress, was the first to stand up and say, these are our dreamers and we should invest in them. On behalf of the people of this great city, a proud city, I present to you, Dr. Jordan, our gold challenge coin, our highest honor. Thank you.
You know, whenever you make it.
We truly have influencers in the house tonight. And we're going to continue and share our final two honorees this evening. The Denver Strategic Partnerships Commission has selected Street Fraternity. So please help me welcome to the stage Julia Alvarez to share a few words.
Well, that's a really tough act to follow. I don't have any coins to give, but here I am. So thank you all so much for being here this evening. The Strategic Partnerships Commission hosted this wonderful event last year, so it's nice to be here just on the celebrating side of things, and congratulations to the Immigrant and Refugee Commission. This has been a beautiful evening. So I'm very honored this evening to present our honoree Street Fraternity, and its executive director and co-founder, Yoel Kadine Gebrezmakel. Street Frat is a nonprofit that works with urban young men, majority of whom come from immigrant and refugee communities. Offering a variety of programs and setting high goals for each participant, Street Fraternity supports personal goals through building a brotherhood and gaining an understanding of individual participant backgrounds. When I asked Yoel's colleagues what I should say about Street Frat tonight and what I should say about Yoel, they told me what's so unique and beautiful about Yoel is the authenticity with which he interacts with such a wide range of people. It's Yoel's sincere love of life and the diversity of the world he chooses to serve that makes Street Frat magic. Through its programs and staff, Street Frat is creating a healthier, more diverse, inclusive, and loving community every day. Please join me in welcoming Yoel and celebrating Street Fraternity.
Well, hello, everyone. I gotta start a time clock here, stopwatch. I tend to take maybe just 30 seconds, sometimes 30 minutes. We do not want 30 minutes. So here we go, start. I'm going to start with a story. I had some stuff written down, but I'm just going to share a story with you all. A young man gave me a call about 2 weeks ago. His name is Tony. We were introduced to him about 4 years ago. We started 4.5 years ago. And this young man calls me on the phone on a Tuesday and says, "Hey, are you guys open tonight? Remember I had that idea, that graffiti, that mural? I want to come in and do it right now." And I said, "Sure, we're open until 9 o'clock. Come through." He went out, bought his own spray cans, and started about 2 weeks ago. And just today I was with him, so I probably smell like spray paint. Because I changed there, came over here with our colleagues. But what he's put up on our wall, it says, "Follow to lead." And in the middle of it, he had these 3 different designs that he had young men vote on, but he incorporated all 3, and he has it saying, "Follow to lead," and he has a globe on there. And he says, he remembered the first definition of street fraternity for himself, and it was to be a good warrior. And so he wanted to put "follow to lead." And so just off of that energy for myself and street fraternity, I'm very happy to be here myself, representing street fraternity and accepting this award. But I especially want to thank our leaders in the community, and that person would be Mayor Hancock. Thank you for your leadership. Without you, we would not have all these, especially in these tough times that we're all going through, we would not have all these committees. I went ahead and just looked at the commission listed here, and I see that I ticked off pretty much everything that's on there with the exception of aging. I'm aging. Our guys are starting to call me grandpa now, but so we may fit into that too. But we fit in every category. And so I just wanted to thank Mayor Hancock for, first and foremost, for having this commissions that represents our communities and for your sincere and commitment and consistency in our community. So thank you very much. And then secondly, I know the work that we all do in the community is not easy. It's very tough. We are such an interconnected community with our diversity and inclusion. And so with that, secondly, who I would like to thank is all the commission members for all your hard work, your commitment, your consistency, and the work that you do every single day with your daily jobs and your commitment to the commission. We're all followers and we're all leaders, so thank you for doing what you do. And lastly, I'm going to ask our current board chair, Ted Manley, to stand up, Levon Lyles to stand up, our co-founder and program coordinator, as well as Amadou Biliti, our program specialist. The work that we do as street fraternity is not just our staff, but all of our stakeholders. So I really appreciate the work that you all do. There's a lot of need in our community for young men, especially young men of color, between the ages of 14 to 25. And it's not just in our immediate community, but as you know, throughout the nation. And lastly, I accept this award not only on behalf of our stakeholders, but all of our participants, our former participants, our current participants, and our future participants. And especially on behalf of 3 young men who were part of Mayor Hancock's My Brother's Keeper initiative, John Claw Lin, Tony Pinella, and Mang Yoon. So I accept this award. Thank you all very much. I took longer than 3 minutes. I apologize. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Street Fraternity, for all you do. And now we're ready to share our final honoree with you this evening. And up next, we have the Denver Women's Commission. Let's hear it up for them. And they are honored to present the Mayor's Diversity and Inclusion Award to the Writing Center at Manual High School. And now I'd like to invite Jessica Skibo to the stage to share a few remarks. Let's give it up for Jessica.
Good evening. We saved the best for last, the Denver Women's Commission. Always, because it's W, but I'm saying it's best for last. It's my privilege as the chair of the Denver Women's Commission to recognize our honoree, the Writing Center at Manual High School, in honor of Mardell J. The Writing Center strives to empower all students to become authors of their own learning, to construct their own knowledge through the process of empowerment, inquiry, and dialogue. Students discovered that they can influence significant change in their community by becoming peer writing coaches, hosting community events, and publishing a book, Unspoken Wisdom. The Commission would like to send our condolences to the entire family, especially to his sister, Georgia J., who spent time in our Manuel Women to Women mentoring program. We also want to acknowledge Olivia Jones for creating a space for Manual students to share their truth and perspective in authentic and meaningful ways, and to Principal Nick Dawkins for supporting your students and staff through their time and their grief. Mardell J. passed away too early in life, but lives on inspiring students to share their voice and leaves an everlasting legacy through his passion for writing. Olivia Jones is the teacher for the Writing Center program, and students from the Writing Center are here to accept the award tonight, so let's extend a warm welcome.
Put your hands on them.
Thank you all for being here this evening. Special thanks to Serena Montoya and the Denver Women's Commission for the nomination, and especially for Mayor Hancock for the special T-Bolt shout out. My name is Carlos Hernandez, and I'm one of the 15 founders of the Manual Writes, the first ever student-led writing center to be built by students from the ground up. Here are some of them. The rest couldn't be here because I'm pretty sure they're busy doing college work. So it all started exactly 1 year ago when I stood before an audience like this at the Imaginarium Design Challenge. I had 2 short minutes to pitch our vision to create a space where young people could work together to reclaim the power of voice through writing. And that night, we were actually selected as one of the finalists and secured $10,000 to make our vision become a reality. But I kind of lied. The truth is, it actually started long before that. It started back when we all first walked into Manual as freshmen. It wasn't called the Writing Center. It was really called Introduction to Literature. For many of the co-founders, this class sparked our passion for writing. It is where all 15 of us, and Ms. Jones included, established a community, a family, grounded in love, resilience, and a belief that writing could give us a voice which we could use to change the world. We were lucky enough to keep this community together for the next 2 years, still chasing after this vision, a vision that came from our 3 years together in English class, where everything we wrote had a purpose, like saving school from being shut down in an email campaign, writing and recording original poetry at local radio stations, and fundraising over $7,000 to buy personal laptops and effectively closing the digital divide for 25 students on our AP Lane class. And now we flash forward 3 years to the start of our senior year, and we wondered to ourselves, what legacy would we leave? And as students of colors who have attended Title I schools in an urban district, we had seen firsthand how the innate passion for writing and learning can fade when a school is a place where students are repeatedly told that their skills are unsatisfactory. The majority of our peers have learned to see writing as something that only exists in the world of academia, a place where they have historically been marginalized and silenced. Underrepresented students need a place where they feel safe enough to take the risks required to recover that power in writing, and that their voices are valuable. So we said that would be our legacy, to build that space.
To list the accomplishments of the Writing Center in its first year would take far more than 3 minutes, and I just heard we have 1 left. I'm up here with Carlos today because the real evidence of their impact wasn't revealed until this year. Even without their physical presence, I see and feel tangible proof of their legacy every day at Manual.
I felt it when 3 sophomores who worked closely with the Writing Center last year had the confidence to share personal writing at an all-school assembly on the second day of school. Or when more than 50 students attended the first info meeting for the Writing Center. Or when a student wrote on her application just last week, a lot of people, including myself, have come to believe that their voice doesn't matter. But when the Writing Center was introduced at Manual, I felt I had a safe spot. People taught me to have confidence. When I say confidence, I mean not only confidence in myself, or in my writing, but also in myself. I'm sure some of you out there are asking yourselves the same question I ask myself every morning. How did they do it? Cornel West once said, "We are who we are because somebody loved us." For each one of us in the Writing Center family, that person was founder Mardale Howard J. For 4 years, his love was a beacon of hope, a lighthouse guiding us to the safety of the shore. His love was strong enough to withstand any storm. It was a light in the distance that gave us strength, direction, and hope. And it continues to be a driving force in the Writing Center. In countless interviews, when I ask applicants, "Why are you here?" I receive the same 5-word answer: "I'm here because of Mardale." So we are all beyond grateful for this opportunity tonight to celebrate the legacy of a young man who undoubtedly changed the lives of all 15 of us on the Writing Center team. A young man whose personal vision was to spark the mind that would hopefully change the world. And he did just that. His rhetoric moved minds and spirits. He spoke at every single Writing Center event last year. And students always made him perform last because no one wanted to follow that kind of brilliance. So, in true Writing Center tradition, we would like to close with some of Mardale's words from our first event last November. He wrote, "Let's put our minds together and make a solution, me and you. Talk to each other amidst all our love and trust. Light pushes out darkness. Love kills hate. I hope my words help you all come up with a thought to change. What are we to do to change the life we live today? Because another day passing, it could be a day too late." Mardale, thank you for loving us, for helping us discover who we truly are. It is amidst your love that we will all continue to fight for change. Thank you.
Thank you. This has been an incredible evening, and there's a lot of great people here with us that do amazing work day in and day out. They are truly unsung heroes. So let's give all of our honorees another big round of applause for all they do. And before I leave you this evening, I would like to introduce Derek Okubo, the Executive Director of the Agency for Human Rights and Community Partnerships. Let's hear it for him.
Wasn't tonight amazing? Absolutely. So I'm going to be real quick here. I just wanted to personally thank the Mayor's Diversity and Inclusivity Committee. If you could please stand. They were the ones who worked for this whole year, put this together along with the Denver Immigrant and Refugee Commission. It's a lot of work to do this type of thing. I also want to recognize another one of the unsung heroes. He always steps up and participates and leads and demands and directs and tells us what to do. But Anthony Aragon, where are you? We could not do this without you. And as we conclude, we also need to thank those sponsors who made tonight possible. We could not do this with all with the space, the food, the drink, the printing, everything is because of our community sponsors who believe in diversity and inclusion in our community. And so I want to go through this list real quick. Our sponsors, the Swaya Law Firm, Western Union, U.S. Bank. We have representatives here from all these folks today. Lamar's Donuts and Coffee, Children's Hospital, Kaiser Permanente, Denver International Airport, PASCO, also known as Personal Assistance Services of Colorado, Denver Health, Spring Institute, Coal Fusion Fitness, Davida, Employers Council, Heritage Camps, and Commissioner Fran Campbell. Let's give them all a hand. This also couldn't happen without the dedication of our commissioners. Our commissioners go through a rigorous process to be appointed. They are vetted by each commission, brought to the mayor for appointment, and then confirmed by council. The whole process takes a number of months. But through your efforts, this event happens, and then also the change that happens in our community. I remember when the mayor and I first came in, I heard from some of the former commissioners who were still a part of the commission saying, you know, we're waiting. And I said, what are you waiting for? And they said, we're waiting for you to tell us what to do. And I said, no. With this administration, with this mayor, we're waiting for what you tell us what to do. And so with that type of direction, our commissioners step up, and we see the change that we need to see in this community. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for your hard work. Give yourselves a big hand. And just one other comment. You know, we live in a very interesting time, as we all know. And truly being a welcoming community is not just words, it's actions. And, you know, when you look at leadership, the best leaders that I have ever known, they always give credit to everybody else. And, you know, when we started this program, we saw an individual who stood up here and he started giving credit to my agency, to the community, to other folks who are there. But there is an individual here who has stood up in the face of all this challenge that we are seeing in our country today. And he said, no. That is not the direction that we're going. The direction we're going is one where we are welcoming, where we are based on love and not hate, where we are focusing on bringing our community together. And we need to show our appreciation for our mayor, Michael B. Hancock. Thank you, Mayor, for being a model for all of us, for being the leader that we need today. Really, thank you. The purpose of awards program is to inspire and to create change. And when I look at all of you, our awardees tonight, you are inspiring. You are the hope that we would like to see in our community. And I just want to thank you for showing the wisdom, for helping to make the change that we want to see happen, making it happen rather than hoping that it would happen. Thank you very much for being here. And with that, I'll just have Jamie Torres, my partner as Deputy Director of the Agency for Human Rights and Community Partnerships, come up here and close us out. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. In addition, thank you. Don't make me cry. All right. In addition to being Deputy Director of the agency, I'm also the Director of the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs, and I have the distinct honor of being liaison to this commission, the Immigrant and Refugee Commission. It's a joy. It really is. As one of the things that I think is important, and it's been mentioned in part a lot tonight, welcoming. And it's truly not just a tagline. It's not just a motto. It impacts our work, our homes, our families, our neighborhoods. And as Denver grows and grows and grows, it becomes our role to continue to demonstrate that what we have in this room, what we saw tonight, this is what Denver is. So thank you so much for being part of this family and for being part of this community. I just want to mention that the artwork that you've seen around the room tonight was done by staff and participants at Project Worthmore. Project Worthmore provides programs that foster community, self-sufficiency, and increase the quality of life among Denver area refugees. They're an amazing nonprofit. Some of the pieces are an art therapy program to discuss trauma and integration. Incredibly powerful. So thank you to Project Worthmore for loaning them to us for tonight. Now, it's tradition that when we wrap up this event, we pass the binder, and there's an actual binder, to the next commission who will host this event next year. And to do that, I'd like to welcome Kim Verilek, Christina Badhand, and Donna Christian to the stage from the American Indian Commission. Thank you, everyone. That concludes our event and our show. We look forward to seeing you next year.